Joan by Carol M Mottershead. Chapter 5. Dr. Goodwin, Regression Therapist. Now as I count from 1 to 10, you will remember everything that has happened in this session. Your eyes will open. You will return to full awakening consciousness. Any and all anxieties will now be gone. Feeling rested, confident, and full of vitality. 1. Gradually coming up. 2. Coming up more and more. 3. Nothing and no one can upset you. 4. Feeling better than you have felt for a long, long time. 5. Coming up, coming up. 6. Feeling nice and refreshed. 7. Confidence growing day by day. 8. Almost there now. 9. Coming up, coming up, coming up. 10. You're awake, feeling full of energy, calm and refreshed. Now wasn't that nice? How do you feel now, Joan? It was Dr. Goodwin rousing me from my first session of hypnotherapy. I did indeed feel wonderfully relaxed. Dr. Goodwin worked in a new kind of hypnotherapy known as regression therapy. But his main line of interest was in parapsychology, the study of the paranormal. Alison had met him after one of her seminars on coping alone. He was a lovely man, with a pleasant demeanour and reassuring attitude. He reminded me of an old friend called Arthur, and I felt I could trust him instantly. He was so passionate about his work that I was drawn to his enthusiasm immediately, which was unusual for me, as I'm not one for trusting so readily. He told me how regression therapy worked. It opens up those forgotten memories, helping people to cope with their present-day problems by remembering things that triggered them off in the first place, even if they originated in a past life. One case study, he explained, was where the client had been an overeater in their present life and had asked for help to lose weight. Under hypnosis, it transpired that the client had died from starvation, which created an anxiety over food. They hated to see food go to waste, regardless of the reason. Cooking too much, kids leaving food on their plates. They always had to have a full pantry so as never to have a shortage of food. With the right suggestions, he was able to take away their anxiety and change their attitude to food. He gave another example of a client who was so adamant never to have children. Under a past life regression, she died in childbirth. I found his stories all very fascinating to listen to, but would it help me to remember why I ended up in hospital? I wasn't so sure. Our first session had gone very well, and I was a perfect candidate for a regression therapy, he assured me. My strong will and desire to be helped were in my favour. He sounded very confident, explained that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, and that I would be able to snap out of it at any time I wished to do so. Alison seemed certain it would help to get my memory back too. She heard good things about Dr. Goodwin. So despite my uncertainty, I agreed to give it a go. Another couple of sessions would reinforce confidence and teach me to go deeper and deeper into necessary trance-like state, and we would be ready to begin, he'd told me. and I could start at any point in my life that I chose, but suggested that maybe I start with a good memory at our next session. Dr. Goodwin, Regression Therapist, Case Notes, 29th of January 1979. Client's name is Joan, a female in her early 20s. She is a very pleasant, strong-willed young lady, self-employed puppeteer. She presented with a history of selective mutism and short-term memory loss brought on by some sort of trauma. She has refused traditional medical intervention that required her to take medications for anxiety and electric shock treatment, preferring to use acupuncture, tai chi and meditation to regain her speech. Her speech is quite fluent, which has enabled her to return to work. She began hypnotherapy 3 weeks ago and is now ready to begin regression therapy. Our sessions to date have been to teach her a relaxation technique, introduce inductions to learn how best to bring her into a suitable trance-like state before commencing with today's session. Session 4, 29th of April 1979. Today's session began with the usual relaxation technique and her favourite induction, visualising herself on the beach. Now, Joan, I'd like you to go back to a time when you felt really happy and tell me what you see. What is happening? I lay quiet for a moment while I thought. Where had I felt the happiest? Was it when Nicholas was born? Was it my wedding day, a day I had never dreamed would happen? Or maybe the first time I saw Pulcinella? Or could it be the time I spent with my mother? Where should I start? I did not know, but as I lay relaxed I found myself drifting to the memory of the day Father had agreed to my marrying Pulcinella. The silence must have taken a little longer than usual, for next I heard was Dr. Goodwin. Relax, Joan. Go deeper and deeper, and tell me where you are and what is happening. It's the day Father agreed to our marriage. Pulcinella had just fought a beast, a cocodrilo. I'm so happy. He said we had to wait 6 months, as he had work to complete. 6 months is a long time, but Pulcinella has had to go away. He has work to do. He assures me of his undying love, and that he will be back in plenty of time for our wedding. We're both so excited. He told me to close my eyes and hold out my hand. I can feel something cold and hard. I open my eyes and it looks like a tooth of some kind. Now he's laughing at me. He's telling me it's the tooth from the cocodrilo. He wants me to keep it to remind me how he's battled a wild creature to win my hand in marriage, and is smiling at me, pushing out his chest in exaggeration of his heroics. I'm laughing. And as I lay smiling at the memory, I remembered how Pulcinella took both my hands in his and kissed them, his lips warm, sending a tingle down my spine, even in memory of his touch. What's happening, Joan? I want to put my arms around him and hold him tight, but intimacy isn't permitted. I can only squeeze his hands and look into his eyes with longing, placing the tooth in my pocket as he let go of my hands. My heart is filled with such bitter-sweet joy. I can only watch and wave as my love, my husband-to-be, walks jauntily away, waving. I'm waving as he moves out of sight. Governess has taken me back inside. I don't want to go. I paused speaking as I could feel myself getting upset. Then I heard Dr. Goodwin speak again. How old are you, Joan? Asked Dr. Goodwin. 17. Where are you? At home. Where's home? I opened my eyes, worried about where his questions would lead, and would I be forced to answer. Sleep, Joan. Nothing and no one can hurt you. Relax. I allowed my eyes to close. Listen only to my voice. I will count from 1 to 5, and you will return to full awakening consciousness, feeling safe, well rested and confident. 1. Gradually coming up. 2. Coming up more and more. 3. Nothing and no one can upset you. 4. Almost there now. 5. Fully awake, feeling calm and refreshed. What happened, Joan? How do you feel? I told him of my anxiety, but didn't want to go into details with him. I felt foolish. He'd already told me that I was in control, even under hypnosis. But at home later that night, I started to wonder if I'd done the right thing, starting regression therapy. In my day, my earlier life, people believed that hypnosis was black magic, and practitioners of hypnosis were evil sorcerers wanting to control your mind. Dr. Goodwin says that they're old wives' tales, superstition and old fears put about by failed hypnotists. He says that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. But superstition or not, they were beliefs I had grown up with. On the other hand, the last few sessions did leave me feeling calm and relaxed. What should I do? The regression therapy is probably what worries me most. My trust issues again. Or should I say lack of trust issues. On the other hand, I did wake up when I wanted to. So what am I afraid of? As a believer in reincarnation, Dr. Goodwin would probably just put it down to a past life. Not even consider anything else. After all, who would believe I just celebrated my 443rd birthday, let alone look this good? What if I never remember? To be honest, I'm no longer sure I want to remember, not if it's so bad my mind can't face it. I don't know. Does it matter now after all this time? My life is pretty much back on track. I have my voice, I have my work, and I have my own home. Do I need my missing memory? I really must stop talking to myself. They say it's a sign of madness, don't they? Yes, they do, I laughed. In bed, I tossed and turned with my indecision. I can stop any time. That's what he said. I'm in control, aren't I? Case Notes, Session 5, 12th of March 1979. Client woke up during our last session, reluctant to answer my questions. Need to find out why. What is it she is avoiding? What is she afraid of? Suggestion. Let client tell her story at her own pace, rather than pushing her or interrupting flow. Suggest she keeps a diary between sessions. Observations. If client is anxious about being questioned under hypnosis, only ask questions during conscious state. Client has agreed to continue with remaining sessions. Regression Therapy Session 5, 12th of March 1979. As before, Joan, I want you to relax and go into a deep sleep. You'll be perfectly safe. Now you know you can bring yourself to full awakening consciousness whenever you like. Let's try going back to 9th of September 1977, the day you were taken into hospital. Can you remember what you did that day? I started the day much like any other day, really. Showered, dressed, ate breakfast, then went to get a newspaper. I went silent. Then what? Prompted Dr. Goodwin. I can't remember. I lay there trying and trying, but there was nothing. I heard Dr. Goodwin repeating the phrase, deeper and deeper into relaxation. But I couldn't see anything. I began to feel agitated. Deeper and deeper. Nothing and no one can harm you, he was saying. But I didn't feel afraid of being harmed. I couldn't explain what I was feeling at all. It was too overwhelming. There were no words. Then Dr. Goodwin told me to sleep. It was like a shutter had come down and all was black. I felt like I was floating in nothing. A void. Just darkness. When I woke up, Dr. Goodwin and I talked about my experience this session. He explained that he believed I had regressed to a time before I was even born, what he called a pre-birth state, where existed nothingness. Words to describe my experience were hard to find. I felt like I was suspended in a darkened room, but not quite. I wasn't hanging from anything. It was more like a void. I struggled to find words to describe the experience. Calmness, awareness, but I had no sense of a body, just my thoughts. There were no walls to reach out to, no floor beneath my feet, no ceiling above my head. I just was. It was a kind of nothingness. No anxiety, no emotions. I had no other words for it. I remembered him asking me to move forward in time. There was warmth, a sense of struggling, then a light gradually getting brighter, coldness, then sounds, then a feeling of something being wrapped round me. Dr. Goodwin explained I had just experienced my birth. It was amazing. I had a sense of elation afterwards that lasted the rest of the day. That night I slept well. Regression Therapy Session 6, 19th of April 1979. Today, Joan, I would like to try creeping up on this missing memory of yours. Let's start with a good memory again. This time I want you to begin where you left off. Your father had just set a date for your wedding, I believe. My heart feels heavy as I wave Pulsnella goodbye. I'm dreading the next few months. Father told me that he too will be away for a while. He has instructed governess to make whatever arrangements necessary to put on the finest wedding celebration our township has ever seen. He's saying that our wedding, if it has to be, will be done in style. It is to be a grand affair. Everyone who is anyone is to be invited. Governess wants me to help write invitations. I don't mind. I'm glad to have something to pass away the time. I can't wait. I can't stop smiling. I'm so thrilled. Governess is still not happy about the wedding, but she is supportive of Father and will do as she is instructed in his absence. Why doesn't Father and Governess approve of Pulcinella? Asked Dr. Goodwin. He is older than me by some 10 years, and an actor, a vagrant, a vagabond in their eyes. But I love him. Governess is watching me. She's looking at me with tears in her eyes, and she's taking my hands in hers. She's telling me to treasure these memories, that happiness is fleeting. She's kissing my forehead. She's not done that since I was little. Joan, I want you to go deeper and deeper. Relax. Stay calm. I want you to come forward in time now. It is 9th of September 1977. Tell me what's happening. The room is dark. A glimmer of light coming from somewhere nearby. The doorway, perhaps. I can't move. Where am I? I can feel myself panicking. There's a high-pitched humming sound nearby. A smell of disinfectant. I must be in a hospital. Why can't I move? Stay calm, Joan. Relax. Nothing can harm you, said Dr. Goodwin. The room is getting noisier as people enter the room, feet running, urgent-sounding voices, someone using a telephone. Everything feels in slow motion and distant, yet clear as a bell at the same time. I hear a commanding voice giving orders to stand back. I'm looking down on people around a body. It's my body. Lights are being shone into my eyes, and the doctor is calling out to someone that there's no reaction. I'm here! I can hear myself calling, but nothing is coming out of my mouth. My body. The nurse is being instructed to give an injection of something, and I see my body react. A sharp intake of breath, but I'm still looking down at the group below. What is happening? Relax, Joan. Stay calm. You're okay. It looks like I'm stabilized. The doctor tells the nurse to stay with me, instructing her to give me a sedative if I become restless during the night. I'm trying to tell them I'm here. I'm here. But they can't hear me. The doctor is leaving. I feel strange. Now what's happening to me? I can see the nurse adjusting the drip attached to my lifeless arm. I can see my motionless body laid on the bed. I don't know what's going on. The nurse is stroking my forehead reassuringly, telling me to rest. I need my rest, she's saying. She's taking a seat near my bed and is watching, occasionally holding my hand, occasionally reading a book, or both. I'm here, I try to tell her. But where? My body is lying on the bed and I don't know how to get back in it. Help! I want to scream at her. You're all right, Joan. Just relax. You're perfectly safe. What's happening now? I hear Dr. Goodwin calming my agitation, urging me to continue. It must be morning. The nurse is nipping my ear for a reaction. She's blowing in my ear. She's put a finger in my ear, and I can see my head jerk. She must have seen that. I'm here. I try to call to her. A different doctor has arrived. A male doctor. He is repeating the same tests as the nurse. My body is still not responding. Why can't I get back into my body? Why won't my body move? I can see they're getting worried. The doctor is checking my eyes again. He tells the nurse that there's no movement in my eyes. just an unusual, mist-like look. He's taking blood from between my fingers. I saw my face flinch slightly. Surely they saw that. The doctor looked puzzled. He hadn't even used the needle yet, only the surgical wipe, he told the nurse. All my tests for consciousness were negative. Yet all my observations are normal. My blood pressure, my pulse rate, breathing, all normal. I heard him say he wanted me to have an MRI, whatever that is. I'd left the room. All I can do is float around this damn room. I try to lie on the bed next to my body, sitting on it, bouncing, trying to go back in, willing myself back into my body. But nothing is working. I've read of such things. They're called out of the body experiences, but never believed they were real. So this is what it feels like. The panic is melting away now. I'm feeling calm and peaceful. It feels good. I don't know if I want to return to my body now. Something is happening. I can hear Dr. Goodwin counting me awake. Now what? My body is being pulled back to my room. They're taking my body. I'm not dead. Where are you taking me? 2, 3, 4, 5. Wake up, Joan. Case Notes, Session 6, 19th of April 1979. Client still refuses to face whatever trauma triggered her memory loss. This time she described an out-of-the-body experience, which appears to have occurred shortly after being admitted to hospital. Client seems unperturbed by her session this week, but was getting agitated, so the remainder of the session had to be cut short again. I asked Joan what had happened, and it transpires she had some sort of heart-related event whilst in hospital, and did indeed have an experience of being out of the body for a while, waking up shortly before being placed in a magnetic resonance imaging machine, where she found herself with no voice and no memory. Suggestion: advise Joan to keep a diary. Use her recorded relaxation sessions for a little longer, and make the next appointment in a month's time.